There we are.
All right, we are
Hello.
live.
Hello, Podfeet.
Hello. We should have some special guests coming in shortly.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Cheers. We're having gin and tonics because we're on a 5-day treat vacation down at Lindsay's house without Lindsay.
We got a full house. What good, well timed, Alan. Look at that.
All right. We have a roll call. We have Alan and Batfink. Shoot, Batfink, I don't remember what your name is. Tell me again. And Kevin and Jason and Jill and Ed and John and Rick and Sandy and Michael and Frank is here. Hasn't been here in a little bit. And I saw Rose somewhere. Where is she? There she is. Seamus. All right. How am I gonna connect Batfink to Seamus?
Good luck.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Seamus in DC. Oh, that helps me remember.
Did you live in Ireland at one time, Seamus? Or do you have Irish heritage? Or maybe Scottish?
All right. I think our special guests are coming.
See, Alan, thanks for joining us. Alan's here just for roll call. He had to go takes care of things.
Oh, come here, guys.
Oh, somebody's here.
I'll put you on the headphones. Here, Sienna, let me put
Hello,
Sienna
Forbes.
here. And you can...
Hello.
So, and there's Sienna. So all you're hearing is me. You don't hear all the people looking at you, Forbes, but this is
Sienna, look over this way.
people in the chat room and people watching the live show can see both of you. Do you want to say anything to them? Forbes?
Oh, jeez. I got the mic pointed down too far. Sorry, that was probably loud and annoying. Talk into the mic. Go up hot on the mic.
Tell us what you want to say.
Do you want to sing to everybody?
No.
No.
Gratuitous grandchildren.
So that's Forbes and Sienna, and you probably can guess who is who.
That's it.
Sienna.
Oh, you want to say hi to Pip here? Here you go. You gonna listen? Okay.
Hello, Sienna. How you doing, little girl? Yeah. Now she's the one that takes after Allison. She has no trouble talking, even though she doesn't talk much.
Her just said, boop, boop.
Yeah, we actually do hear her, Forbes, but I guess you can't hear me.
All right. Oh, we should probably call it. Good job. Good job, Sienna. Good job, Forbes. Good job, Nolan. Thank you.
All right. We got a full house tonight.
Yeah, we do. See, Kevin sent a video. What did he say in his video?
Let's see.
All right.
Oh,
I can't stand
he was
it.
saying hi to Forbes and Sienna.
Oh, okay. I'll play that for them later. It's it's a little hard to play things from there. All right. I'm going to try one more time on record and make sure everybody can hear me in playback. Hi, this is Alan Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight full bias. Today is Sunday, May 1st, 2022, and this is show number 886. Coming from Lindsay Nolan's house, without Lindsay, actually. We've been helping to take care of the kids this weekend, so we're having a lot of fun, but we have a show to do tonight. All right, I went ahead and did it. Let's make sure we get playback. Hi, this is Alan Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast. Playback work?
I heard it.
Loud and clear. Oh, I got the number right. That's the
Yeah.
that's the actual miracle part. All right, so let's see. Copy link. Nope. Nothing's running. I wonder if Keyboard Maestro is not running. Okay. Keyboard Maestro is running. And where is it? Podcast. Enable, hold it. Where's it? Keyboard photos. Oh, it's a Hindenburg shortcut. Yep, it's enabled. All right. Try it again. Nope. It's not even thinking about it. Oh, never mind. It's going to work. Nope, it's not going to, but it will in a second. Let's try it again. Okay. Copy link. Okay, I have to wait for it. Give it a just. Brett's here. Brett, you haven't been here in ages.
Hello, Brett. Welcome.
Actually, I'm listening to the wrong thing. I should listen on Mimo, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the one where I can mute you. Okay, that's been enough time. Let's see if that works. Got it out of sequence. Nope, I'm getting one of the copies. Ah, phooey. All right. I'll copy that. Oh, maybe I needed to do that first. Okay, let's try it again. Copy link. Nope. All right, we'll do it the old way. Nope. Do it the old-fashioned way. Nothing else is working. All right, here we go. All right, let's switch over. We're going to talk about security bits, right? Is that what I just said we were going to talk? No, not security bits. We're talking about chit-chat. All right. This week, nope, let's try here. This week's episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond is what I'm going to call an approximately light episode. Bart Busschots explains why it's a good idea to have an email address on your own domain. Then he digs deep into all of the different technologies involved in owning a domain, forwarding email. He explains MX and NX records and how to make sure you're... It's supposed to say NS, not NX. All right, let's fix that. NS, and that's been up for days. Send that to the blog real quick because that is wrong. It's going great. Why is my keyboard sticky? I don't think it had anything to do with Sienna. There we go. All right. Oh, it wants me to save. That's a good idea. NC, yep. Okay. This week's episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond is technically a light episode, but it's actually a bit of a heavy light. I don't know, approximately light adjacent a Chit Chat, because this has Bart Busschots on the show explaining why it's a good idea to have an email address on your own domain. He digs deep into all of the different technologies involved in owning a domain, forwarding email. He explains MX and NS records and how to make sure you're never caught up in spam scam. After digging deep, he then brings us up a level and explains the easy things you can do to have email forwarding that might protect you from some problems. I've worked my way through all the technologies that Bart described, already done all of this, but I didn't understand a lot of it until Bart explained it to us in this episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond. I need to switch back to this and read the rest. Keeping going. Now, when you listen to this episode, towards the end, you'll hear Bart describing the final list of steps to get email on your own domain. As he lists the steps by number, you'll hear me correct him and say, oh, you mean step 5, not step 4, as he says. We go back and forth a couple of times, both of us accusing the other one, changing the show notes, and we give up and we move on. After we were done recording, we discovered why we were talking about two different things, and it's kind of interesting. You see, Bart writes in Markdown in an app called Byword. He had mistakenly put in number 2 steps in his list. I copy and paste Markdown into Mars Edit, my blogging platform, and it turns out that Mars Edit saw the incorrect syntax. Oh, silly Bart, you really meant the steps to be sequential, and it renumbered them for me in the render of Markdown. Mars Edit was very clever, but it sure confused both of us for a little while. You can, of course, find this episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond Light in your podcatcher of choice. All right. There we go. Somebody says I should do chapter marks.
Nolan joined us in the chat room for the first time.
Oh, how fun is that?
Yeah. Welcome, Nolan. Although I don't think he's in the live show, so...
Okay. All right. Come on. Right here. So you're saying he's in the live show, but he's not in the live show?
He's in the chat room, but he's not in live show listen.
Oh, okay.
As far as I can tell. Oh, no. There he is. He is in live show listen. So, Nolan, you hearing us?
Fun. How fun are you, Nolan?
How did he... I didn't even know he knew how to do that.
They're all nerds here.
Filling in for Lindsay, the daughter. So this is Nolan, the son-in-law. Now you can hear. So you just joined us.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
That's pretty fun, Nolan.
How did you figure that out? Or do you know, you must know Discord?
All right, I'm going to do a recording.
Oh, you're talking to Lindsay.
Oh,
she give you some hints?
He married a Sheridan. Whatever choice did he have? All right, Steve, I am going to do some recording here. All right. Mute Steve. I was listening to Clockwise where the question passed around the four folks was whether they had an Apple Card. All of them were big old Apple fans on the panel, but only one of the four had an Apple Card. As they walked through the reasons why they didn't have one, it was apparent to me that they didn't understand why it is so cool. If 3/4 of this panel didn't know why it was cool, that got me wondering whether maybe there's a lot of NosillaCast castaways who don't understand exactly why it's so cool, and maybe they know what it is, but they didn't think there'd be any advantages for them. Now, let me say this very clearly. The last thing in the world I would ever do on a podcast would be to give financial advice. I'm not doing that. To be very clear, I am not A, urging you to have yet another credit card. B, trying to get you into debt by having multiple credit cards. C, suggesting that whatever way you manage your money is wrong. I'm not going to talk about interest rates. I'm not going to talk about fees. I'm not going to talk about whether it's even a good deal to get an Apple Card. I just want to talk about how cool the technology is and how, for me, it makes dealing with an annoying subject quite a bit less annoying. Another reason I want to talk about the Apple Card is because of a story my friend Diane told me about hers. But let's start at the beginning. Now, I know it's not generally hard to get an Apple Card, to get any credit card. And in fact, it's pretty common to get a paper mail saying you're pre-approved. But Apple takes up a notch on how easy it is to acquire Apple Card. First of all, you apply online, and if approved, the credit card shows up automatically in Apple Wallet. Not in a week or a few days. It's more like minutes after you apply. You don't even have a physical card yet, and yet you can already use it to buy things. In fact, you don't technically ever have to get a physical card if you don't want to. The experience of acquiring an Apple Card is just the beginning of Apple Card is different from other credit cards. Now, if you do choose to get the physical card in the mail, there's no number printed on it at all. To see your card number, you need to open a wallet and ask to see your Apple Card. Now, why would that be a good thing, to not be able to see your credit card number? The best way to explain it would be by telling you Diane's story. Whenever you make a transaction with Apple Card, you get a notification from Wallet. It tells you how much money you spent and to whom you sent the money. This isn't groundbreaking. Steve and I had an American Express card that would do that for us years ago. We really liked it. But these notifications can be informative when things go wrong. And this is where Diane's story comes in. To picture this, Diane was lying in bed doodling around her iPhone first thing in the morning, and she suddenly got a notification from Wallet telling her that she had just spent $1 with GoGundMe. And that sounds legit, right? This wasn't Diane's first rodeo with credit card fraud, so she knew that a very common thing for a credit card fraudster to do is to try to make a small payment just as a test, and then buy something big if the test went through. And this is where the story gets really good. Diane opened up Wallet and selected her Apple Card. As soon as you do this, you get a beautifully formatted list of all your transactions. So Diane saw the $1 transaction to GoGundMe. She tapped on it and then tapped the button that says Report an Issue. From the next screen, there are 4 different options, one of which is Dispute Charge. That brought her into a chat with Goldman Sachs Apple Card specialist. Now, Diane quickly explained the problem, and the specialist said, "Hey, do you want me to change your credit card number?" Diane typed back, "Yes." The specialist said, "Okay, it's changed." Before Diane could even thank her in the text message, the specialist told her that whoever was trying to use her card had now tried to spend $2,800 on her credit card, but the transaction got blocked. because in that very quick conversation in text, her credit card number was already changed. How cool is that? Credit card companies always have to refund you if it was fraudulently used, but Diane stopped them in their tracks. And Goldman Sachs/Apple never had to deal with the miscreants. Big win for both sides, maybe even more for Goldman Sachs, because they didn't have to cover that $2,800 charge or try to chase down who did it. But there's another way this was a big win for Diane. Apple and Goldman Sachs have access to a double secret scrambled code in the card, which means as soon as it was changed on Goldman Sachs' end, Diane's physical card and her Apple Wallet version of her card both knew this new number. There was no need to wait for a new card to arrive in the mail. So this story really illustrates what I think is the best feature of Apple Card, and I do thank Diane for letting me tell her story. Now, in researching for this article to make sure I had my facts straight, I discovered 2 more ways you can protect yourself from fraud with Apple Card. You can actually lock the card with a tap of a button in Wallet. When you're ready to use it again, simply tap the button again to unlock the card. Now, if you don't have your card set for any recurring payments, this would be a really slick way to manage your credit card. Now, here's another trick Apple has up its sleeve in Apple Card. We already know that the credit card number is changeable on the fly because Goldman Sachs changed it for Diane. But you know that 3-digit security code on the card, sometimes called a CVV? With Apple Card's advanced fraud protection, you can set up that code to rotate periodically. If you're bad at memorizing it like I am, it might not be that bad to have to look at Wallet every time you need to use your card. Might stop you from even having to go to all of the effort of tapping the report abuse button, because it would be that much harder to fake if that CVV was rotating. Now, while all the security stuff with Apple Card helps me sleep at night, I'm constantly delighted with the interface of the card and wallet. You know, with a normal credit card, you get a statement with a long table of charges where the merchant's name, I don't know, it often looks like a cat walked on your keyboard. With Apple Card, you see human-friendly names in your transaction list. Instead of the cryptic description you see on other card statements like AMZN MKTP US star 1A2001WA1, that's a real thing. Instead of seeing that on Apple Card, it simply says Amazon. And it even has a thumbnail of the Amazon box logo with that half smile on it. Now, if the merchant doesn't supply a logo, at least you'll see some sort of icon to give you a visual cue, like knife and fork if it was a restaurant. Paying your credit card bill is more fun with Apple Card. Okay, maybe not fun, but a little more entertaining. When you open your card, you can see your card balance at a glance and how much more you can charge for that month. If your bill is due, you tap the pay button and you see a circle donut with a slider inside that goes around the circle. You drag the slider around, the color changes from red to green, showing how much more of it you're deciding to pay. And at the same time, it's telling you how much less interest will cost you as you pay more. So no other credit card I know of that I've ever used tells you that kind of actionable information right at your fingertips. You can see I'm saving money. If I can pay another $20, that's going to save me this much in interest. Now, I have a bad habit of waiting until the end of the year to make my charitable contributions, and as a result, my credit card gets a lot of exercise in December, along with all the gift buying. Last year, I hit my credit card limit before I finished paying all of the charities I wanted to help. While all credit cards will let you off your balance ahead of time, with Apple Card, I simply had to tap Pay Early and drag the circular slider right farther to clear my balance. No messing around in a clumsy web interface to get an extra prepayment. You can even make a request to have your limit increased right within the app interface. While Apple Card does let you view previous month statements, an early complaint was that you couldn't download those statements. Apple has filled that need in 2 ways. You export from your iPhone to CSV, OFX, QFX, or QBO. I don't have any idea what those last 3 are, but I'm guessing they're things like for importing into tools like Quicken or QuickBooks. At least that's what I guess they are. They also created a very simple web interface where you can download very pretty PDFs of your statements. Personally, I use the CSV option since that's the quickest way to a nice spreadsheet as nature intended. Now, I hope that my explanation of Apple Card has educated you a little bit if you didn't know the benefits. Being able to protect myself from fraud better than with other cards, and having a slick, easy interface to review my transactions has made dealing with an annoying subject much less annoying. Did I mention you also get 3% back on Apple products? Anyway, I'd like to finish this with a formal apology for telling you how cool Apple Card is if you live outside of the United States. I know this will have been particularly painful for Bart to hear. Hopefully, Apple will expand to more countries soon. Oh, did I miss anything? All right, Dudley's showing off his upside-down credit card.
So there was a little discussion on Slack about the Apple Card support not being in other countries, and I think a couple folks, including Bart and Steven, said although. Let's see.
Getting two articles mixed up, and I was too.
Oh.
You're thinking of the article that I'm going to talk about, the trade-in program.
Ah, thank you. Yes.
I absolutely got confused and only realized that today they were talking about that article, not this one.
Yes.
Oh, looks like I didn't.
So there's been a discussion about whether Apple Card supports swipe, and I've never used it that way, but it does.
No, there's no magnetic. There's no magnetic card stripe.
People are saying it does. They've used it that way in the chat room. So it's just not as obvious. I don't have my wallet.
Frank says I'd swipe an Apple Card.
Yeah, right.
Apple will expand to more countries soon. Okay.
I think the stripe isn't quite as obvious, although it's there.
Really?
I don't have my wallet to look at it.
I didn't think there was one, but okay. I read the old magnetic bar was cassette tape material. Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought the swipes were were less secure, and I didn't think Apple was going to support that, but maybe they had to for just historical reasons.
So, Jason, you're saying you actually have used your Apple Card and swiped it through the magnetic card reader.
Several people here have said that.
Huh. I just thought it didn't. Anyway, well, that's interesting. You learn something every day.
Yeah.
Did anybody learn anything they didn't already know about Apple Card?
Well, I didn't know it was only in the U.S., although I think I heard that once, but I'd forgotten.
Mm. And you knew all the rest of that stuff? I learned stuff.
The dispute thing. Oh, you learned that, Jill? Yeah. That is pretty cool, how quickly that can be addressed.
I didn't know you could change the number of the CVV number. Yeah, that's probably the number one thing.
John learned it's a MasterCard.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to do Hable next.
Hable it is. Is this the last one, by the way?
Is this the... yeah, it is.
From CISA?
Yeah. It's depressing.
And there won't be CES this year, and there won't be.
Well, you know what? I've got one idea. I've actually.
What is Apple Card, Rick?
All right, the role of Smart Alec will be taken over by Rick today. Maybe I should have done 4,481 words about it, like I did last week with the. What was it? Screenshot X. All right, real quick recording here. Nope. Select it. All right, let's hear our very last interview from the CSUN Assistive Tech Conference. All right. Hable. I don't think I'm going to play any of this because
I'd give them a little intro just so the live show knows what it's about.
Rick gets another stripe on his sleeve. Let's see. The CSUN Assistive Tech Conference. What's wrong, Steve?
I'd give them a little bit just so the live show knows whether or not to listen to it.
Well, I'd like to keep going.
Running out of time.
Assistive Tech Conference. Blind people like to keep their phones in their pockets, not out while they're trying to walk and pay attention to their cane and that sort of thing, but they need to be able to interact with their phone at the same time, and a company called Hable is hoping that their product will make this a little easier. So I'm here with Freek van Velsenis.
Hi, great to be here.
You challenged whether I could say his Dutch name. I think I nailed it.
Really well, better than most people. Yeah, great job.
All right, so talk to us about Able. What is it? This is, sorry, teasing you.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. I'm always depressed when the last one's done because that means I have to do more work every week. But boy, people are coming out of the woodwork for next week's show, so I'm super happy about that. Okay, so let me go here. Okay, chapter mark. Did anybody tell me to do a chapter mark?
I think at least one person here did.
I don't think so.
I see it in the chat room. Whoop. See you, Ed. No. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, good night, Ed. All right. Did Nolan know that Ed was the one who turned us on to the peanut butter whiskey martinis?
I don't think so. I'm not sure So Ed, Nolan, say thank you to Ed for that peanut butter whiskey martini.
Because he's the one who bought the whiskey and turned us on to it.
So this is where we test whether Nolan's actually listening.
Well, he's got nothing else to do.
Right, just a couple kids he's trying to corral.
I'm telling you, Sienna is she's a package of work here.
Yeah, she's the
love of my life, but man, is she a constant work.
I think tornado is a good word.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. What I'm trying to do is get done before Lindsay shows up.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. All right. Muting Steve. If you've ever bought an Apple product in the last couple of years, you've probably noticed that they have the option to trade in an old device to offset the cost of your machine. I noticed it when it was first introduced as an option, but I didn't take advantage of it until very recently. As Mac users, we all know that our devices hold their value for a long time. It's not uncommon to have a non-Apple friend ask, I think I want to try the Mac. Do you know where I can find a cheap, good, used Mac? And the answer is always, nope. You can find a good used Mac, but it won't be cheap. Now, it's not an invalid question. It's just more of a matter of perspective. The purchase price for a new Mac can be significantly higher than for a comparable PC. But what is not commonly realized amongst PC buyers is that the significant price difference is maintained when you're ready to sell your computer. I think understanding this offset is important when making a purchasing decision. Let's walk through an example. Let's price out one of my most recent Macs, a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. It had a 2.4 GHz i9 with 32 gigs of RAM and a 2 terabyte SSD. Now, the way I figure out what a device is worth on the open market is to do a search for the exact model on eBay. Now, the trick is to figure out what the equivalent product has actually sold for. So don't look at the asking price or even the buy it now price, because it may not have actually sold for that. Instead, after doing a search, look down in the left sidebar towards the bottom and you'll see a section titled Show Only, and from that list choose Sold Items. This way you know that the device actually sold for that price, not some person's wishful thinking of what their product was worth. I used the method to search for my 2019 MacBook Pro on eBay, and I looked at the last 10 sold, and on average, they sold for $2,018. That's right, over $2,000 for a 3-year-old laptop. I searched for a comparably configured Windows PC with a 15-inch screen, 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD, and an Intel Core i9. The Dell XPS 15 7590 and 950X series had a few sales, and they were exactly equivalent. The average final selling price for those was $1,341. So the Dell machine is used for a full third less than the Mac. Now, I'm positive there was a huge price difference in the original selling price of each of them when they were new, and maybe it was even that big of a gap. But I'm doing this comparison only to demonstrate that the cost difference is maintained or even widened on resale. Now, if you're willing to put yourself through the aggravation of selling your devices yourself, you go, girl. You will most likely get more from them than by trading them into Apple. I have sold my Macs and iPhones on the open market before, and here's the simple process I used to follow. I start pulling a dozen or so actual prices for equivalent devices on eBay. I look at the photos, I see if each sale I found was by an individual or a company, and I always toss out the company ones because they always skew the price high. I also throw out any results I get from, like if they're actually selling something broken, or if the seller's really unskilled at photographing the device, that can often bring in a really low price. Then I average the remaining results, and that's the price I try to get. I painstakingly clean and set up my devices on my dining room table. I move distracting things out of the way. I get the lighting just so. And of course, I save the original packaging next to it so it looks brand new. This process takes hours. And in the end, I never get that average price I found on eBay. Invariably, one of my friends or someone who really can't afford the true price or the true value wants the device, and I just go ahead and drop the cost. Now, I could be tougher on these friends, but it invariably happens after I'm trying to sell something for weeks. So I'm just sick of it and I just want to get it out of my house. So it's pretty easy to talk me down in price after a couple of weeks. So the result is I do a lot of work. I have a lot of aggravation. And in the end, I'm always sad because I didn't get what I think it was worth. We're all delusional about what we think our devices are worth, even if we do all the research I described. And that's why this article is actually about the happiness and joy that is the Apple trade-in experience. No taking photos, no figuring out where to list it, no answering emails from people offering you half price, no lowering the price because it's a friend who wants to buy it. You click the trade-in button, answer a few questions about the device's make and model, and whether it's functional or not, and Apple offers you a price. If you like the price, when you place your order, they ship you an empty box. You stick the device in the box and you give it to the delivery service Apple has specified for you. Apple receives your device. If it's as you described it, they'll credit you the money, as hassle-free as it could possibly be. Now, what that price Apple offers you? Do you get what it's worth? Well, that's actually hard to answer definitively. I don't have a lot of data points to validate this, but in my small sample set of evidence, it varies quite a bit. I'll go through a few examples. So trade-in data point 1. Steve traded in his 2017 27-inch iMac. In 2017, it was a top-of-the-line quad-core 4.2 gigahertz i7 with 32 gigabytes of RAM and a 2 terabyte SSD. Now, in my experience, a 5-year-old desktop is notoriously difficult to sell on the open market. But it wasn't hard to sell back to Apple when he bought a Mac Studio. He ticked the box to trade it into his purchase, and Apple gave him $640. Now, I checked eBay prices, and the average 5 equivalent models sold this year, the value would have been $1,312. So he got roughly half of what it was worth on the open market. Remember, I've never got what it was worth on eBay. In reality, this is probably more like maybe a 25% reduction in what he could have gotten. And don't forget, if you sell through eBay, you have to pay to ship an iMac, so that would even narrow that price difference quite a bit. All right, trade-in data point number 2. Our buddy Ron just bought a 14-inch M1 MacBook Pro and traded in his 2019 13-inch MacBook Pro, 2.4 gigahertz i5 with 8 gigabytes of RAM and a 512 gigabyte SSD. Looking again at eBay sold listings for his exact model, it appeared to have been worth around $582. But guess what? Ron got $685 for his trade-in. He actually got 18% more on his trade-in than he could have maybe gotten on eBay. I think that's astonishing. Ron lives a charmed life. All right, trade-in example number 3. Probably the most surprising example I found was when I helped my friend Nancy buy a 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro. She keeps her Macs a very long time, so I wasn't optimistic when I suggested she check to see if maybe Apple would give her trade-in value for her old Mac. I told her, I said, probably not, and they'll recycle it for you responsibly, even if they don't pay you anything for it. You see, her machine was 7 years old. It was 2.3 gigahertz i7, 15-inch MacBook Pro, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a 512 gigabyte SSD. Are you ready? Apple gave her $310 for it. I was positively shocked. I didn't even run the numbers on you for this one because $310 for a 7-year-old laptop seems more than fair. With those 3 data points, I'm not sure we can come to a conclusion on how to know whether you'll get a good deal from Apple on trade-in. But I do know that in all 3 cases, all these people had to do was poke a button on the website and then put the Mac in a pre-labeled box and drop it off at UPS. Now, I said that doing a trade-in is hassle-free with Apple. but I'm going to add an amendment clause to that. It's hassle-free as long as Apple waits to send you the return box so that you have time to set up the new device before sending the old one. In Steve's case, he bought the Mac Studio and a Studio Display to go with it. He received the return box for the iMac first, then he got the Mac Studio, but the Studio Display took another couple of weeks to arrive. The problem is that Apple only gives you 14 days to return the trade-in. I think it's 15, maybe it's 10. I'm not even sure, but they only give you a limited time to return the trade-in. But he didn't have the monitor yet, so he couldn't do that. Okay, technically we do have spare monitors around the house, but he shouldn't have had to rely on that. When time was running short on sending the box back, I suggested he call Apple and ask for an extension. It seems like, I thought it was a completely reasonable request, right? Well, he spent 20 minutes trying to convince the first person at Apple to let him have a delay in the return. Then he escalated to a senior advisor who wasted another 20 minutes of his time before begrudgingly saying yes. But it gets a little bit worse. So Apple prides itself on how environmentally conscious they are, right? The only way to extend the return time is for Apple to send you a whole new box. Now, an iMac, it doesn't require a tiny box, right? The box for an iMac is gigantic. So they paid to have trees cut down, turn it into cardboard, got it folded into a box shape, have a label created, and then use trucks burning dead dinosaurs to drive a second 9-pound box to our house. All of this instead of just emailing him a new PDF of a new label. It was so absurd that I had Steve take a photo of me standing next to the boxes stacked on top of each other so I can send it to Apple with a gentle letter suggesting maybe you could do better on this one. So the bottom line is that as long as you get the return in time, the Apple trade-in program is hassle-free with that one caveat. And it's usually a pretty good deal. Now, I checked into it, and you can do trade-in before you want to buy something so you can get credit towards a purchase at a later date. Now, in the old days, I would say I was going to sell a product, and I would never get around to doing it. My drawers are filled with old devices I really meant to sell. I hope it encourages some of you to dig through your old equipment, especially older Macs, and give Apple trade-in program a try. And remember, if you're not buying something right now, you can still use that Apple gift card to use at any time. So you can check out the Apple trade-in program at the link in the show notes at apple.com. There you go.
Good one. So this was pointed out in Facebook, which I know you're not on anymore, but Jill also pointed out you can take your trade-in back to the Apple Store, although when I did the trade-in option, I didn't see that as an option I could select. So I need to look a little more, I guess.
I think the example she's giving is if you're going to buy the thing in the store, you can hand them the device at the same time. But maybe you can do it later?
Shy seemed to imply you could do it. Well, Jill, did you actually buy in the store, or did you buy online and return to and do your trade-in at the store? Because it's the latter that I bought online and for pickup. Oh, pickup at the store. That's the difference. We had it delivered, and there I don't know if you can.
Wait a minute, Jill. Did you trade in the precious Mac Pro that I sold you? Is it gone? It's not at your house? Oh, breaking my heart.
Emoticon.
Oh, if you got money for it, you go, girl. Actually, how much money did you get for it? What model was it? I should have gotten everybody to give me examples.
$240, not bad. What year was that?
Oh my!
Oh,
wait,
$340.
And what did I charge
you?
you? That would have been my 2013 MacBook Pro.